Welcome all gamers to the Grind Game Podcast, a deep dive into the gaming experience. You're listening to Dean and Anthony.
So Dean, this last time you were talking about a topic that you said you would like to see in a future podcast. So let's just go ahead and do that topic. You mentioned games that are competing for our attention, especially the same genre. We were talking about MMOs, games as a service. They always got something, can never quite reach the end.
Yeah, or it's really difficult to find that high-end stuff.
Yeah, you got to spend hours grinding.
That good.
I do like a good grind, by the way. I think a lot of people do.
It depends on the grind itself. That's for sure. Because grinds can be fun. If the gameplay is there, grinds can be fun.
Yeah, whenever I think about grinding, of course, I think about World of Warcraft because that's what I'm playing right now. And I remember grinding out reputations for different factions.
Oh, yeah.
And that was so much fun to me for some reason.
You just like being liked, I suppose.
Yeah, I want to be everybody's friend, I guess.
Famous across the land. But that's now with that, is it because I haven't played a lot of WoW for like a decade, but do the Horde and Alliance have their specific reputations, or they kind of intermingle a little bit?
So I only play on the one side, and I'm not going to say definitely because I'm sure there might be some factions that are exclusive because I know there are exclusive other things like mounts. If there was an exclusive faction, there would be some sort of equivalent on the other side.
Right, yeah. So it's something I've noticed that now that games as a service has become a very, very prevalent thing, and smaller studios are able to make these games as a service games because it's financially enabling, available. I don't know the correct term to use in this, but there's so many games that I want to play. They're all vying for my attention, and I don't know how video game developers do it, how they stay in business when there's so much competition and time is such a valuable resource to humans. How do they get our attention, and how do the developers stay in business when they only have maybe 1,000 or less people playing their game? How do you think they do it?
See, that's interesting because we've been keeping a closer eye on these things, the business aspect of gaming, and I thought of that a while back, earlier this year, whenever I was playing No Man's Sky, and you paid $60 or whatever for it right when it came out. In a lot of people's opinion, it didn't do so well. So they started making improvements to it with all these free patches or updates rather. And I was thinking, like, where are they getting the money to do all of these updates, and how is it benefiting them? Because there aren't any ads in the game, and I didn't see any microtransactions in the game. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's not. But kind of seemed to me like it boiled down to just hey, you know what? Everybody thought that we messed up, so we are going to fix that for you guys. And maybe it was just a investment in their image.
It could be because I can't remember the developer's name, but
I think it's Hello Games.
yeah, that is it. They didn't have a great launch. They had a lot of problems and a lot of things that were promised that didn't quite even get close to following through on. So I could totally see that being a brand image thing as recompense for their launch.
Yeah. For the record, I want it to be known that I pre-ordered No Man's Sky for the PlayStation 4, and I loved it. But yeah, they did have a rough start. You're right.
But I'm glad that because of updates and because of patches in games as a service, that they were able to fix their problems, which doesn't excuse all the misinformation or mishype that was put out there. but I'm glad that they're able to fix their game instead of launching a game and be like, well, this is it, guys. There you go.
Right. Yeah, I was actually really, it sounds weird to say I was proud of them because it's not like they're my child or something, but I was really happy to see, a game developer do that.
I feel that way about Diablo 3 as well, because they had a release. It was okay, but there was a lot of gameplay problems with it. 3 years later, it's fixed, sort of. It's more enjoyable anyway. Significantly more enjoyable. But the thing about so No Man's Sky, when No Man's Sky came out, were there any other games that you were playing around that time that you remember?
Ooh, man, that's quite a while back. I don't think so because I bought it on PS4 and I played it a lot. And like I said in one of my blog posts about reserving your time for certain games, I wouldn't have been playing anything else at that time to really pull me away from it.
When did you stop playing No Man's Sky? What made you stop playing?
I stopped playing it because I got to what I had defined as the end game, which could be a lot of different things in the No Man's Sky that was released. The what was it? Just the base No Man's Sky without all the updates. And one of those is reaching the center of the galaxy. And I had done a lot of the things that you could do in the game already, and then reach the center. And I was like, well, that was really good. I liked it, and now I'm gonna just move on to another game.
So that it was a self-prescribed ending for you, a goal that you had.
Right. In the game, there are like milestones, which are kind of like little achievements. And I was thinking, well, once I get all of these milestones and see what's at the center, then I'll be done. But I think I ended up just going to the center and I still had one of the milestones unfinished. I didn't feel the need to grind it out. So I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to go to the center and then I'll be done just to see what's there because it's like a big mystery in the game.
Well, that's cool. Were you don't say what it is, but were you satisfied with the center of the galaxy?
Yes.
Cool. Is there a very heavy story in No Man's Sky, or is it just kind of like time to explore the universe?
In the beginning, there was not really much of a story. You're just kind of free to explore, and I see what they were trying to do in the beginning. Just kind of like a maybe casual explore the galaxy kind of thing. And I was really interested in that because I know during my lifetime I'm not going to get to do that. So this is probably like one of the closest things that I'm going to get to exploring an entire galaxy.
That's that's so true. We're in that. I can't remember the term for it. I'll see if I could find it later, but we're the generation or the set of generations that are like have all this cool technology, but are still too early to really like explore this space. I can't remember the term for it.
It's called non-pioneers.
Non-pioneers, is that really what it's called?
No, I don't know. But going away from No Man's Sky now, I did want to say that, the topic of games competing for your attention, it sounds really dumb, but I had not even thought of that. Like, why would they be trying to keep all of my attention? Like, why do they just want to pull me off of these other games just to keep me from spending money on other developers' games or what? And I had just seen games as strictly just for my entertainment, and I give them some money and they give me a fun game to play, and that's the end of it. And it wasn't until you sent me a YouTube video from Bellular Gaming
Yeah.
where he talks about that. I don't know if you remember sending me that video a few months ago, but and I really like that channel now. By the way, I watch it all the time.
They're pretty good. Yeah, Bellular News is pretty good.
Yes, Bellular News was the one, and he talks about the battle passes in games like Call of Duty and Fortnite, and now Destiny 2. I say now, but that's been for like the past year or something. And when you sent that to me, I was playing a lot of Destiny 2. And it's funny because they had just started the battle pass thing, and I remember buying the battle pass well, they call it something else in Destiny, and I can't remember what it is now. But I mean, you level up in the game and you hit max level, but and then you have a limited time to level up in this battle pass. I'm sure they all work the same or similarly. So you get to level like 100 or whatever, and you get little rewards along the way. And I remember thinking, "Ooh, this is really fun and neat." And then like the next week or two later, you sent me that video, and I was like, "I've been bamboozled." I fell for it.
Yeah, we all do.
I fell for the money trap, thinking that it was a neat, fun little extra thing, but it's really for more money. Or maybe it's both. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are businesses and they need to function, but oh god, I just thought of another topic that would really delve into businesses and CEOs, but they did discuss it on Bellular News a lot, so maybe I'll let them handle all that news stuff.
Yeah, and I would really like to do news stuff, but I can't keep up with things that quickly.
Yeah, we're just two guys.
Yeah, we're just two guys, guys. That's why Dean and I just talk about old guy gaming stuff.
Yeah, because think about it, it's we all have that general experience with games, and we like to talk about personal experiences.
And the reason we started doing this is because Dean and I feel like we have some pretty interesting viewpoints. I'm going to say that, and everybody's going to be like, no, you guys are lame.
We get it, you game, okay?
I know, right? Is that all you do? I mean, no, but as far as everybody needs to be concerned, yes.
Precisely. Okay, yeah, No Man's Sky, Destiny, and WoW, I guess, are some of the biggest time sinks for you, would you say?
Definitely WoW, yes. Destiny 2, I've done my time. And No Man's Sky was a lot of fun, but I didn't put too much more time into it than I thought was necessary.
Just just traveling to the center of the universe. No biggie.
Now, that was when the game came out. I did go back and play it whenever some of the updates came out, and it did keep me entertained for longer. So, yeah, we'll use all three of those. What do you got? What's your question?
What I'm trying to get at is what made you choose other games over another game? Because the developers want to keep your attention as much as possible, and there's so many games out there. And what makes you choose what games you're going to play? Prioritize.
Yeah, so one of the things that gets me off of one game is kind of like what we were talking about a minute ago with No Man's Sky, is I have to set a personal goal that I want to reach, and I'm going to find a stopping point for now. I can always come back to a lot of these games, and then I'll play something else for a while and regulate myself.
That makes sense. I also put self-prescribed end goals for a game. Like, oh, I just want a max level. I don't care about getting the best gear. I just want to hit max level and spend all my skill points, whatever.
Hey, speaking of gear,
Okay. I like gear.
like in a game kind of like maybe WoW or something. I know you said you haven't played it in quite some time, but what would you spend the majority of your time doing? Like gearing up or raising faction reputation or trying to get a ton of gold. Like I've known people who play WoW, and one of the things they love to do is manipulate the auction house. So they buy low and sell high, and they end up with a ton of gold, but they never gear up and they never do the raids. And I was just wondering what maybe you like to do the most.
That's fascinating. But I like combat is my favorite. So I like going out on missions. I like gearing up. I like synergizing statistics and min maxing and stuff like that. But overall, it's about the gameplay for me.
Okay, yeah, so the gameplay. So like in WoW, you would want to do the raids and I guess gear up, see, because you'd have to be stronger in the raid to do better. So
What about you? Are you a gameplay guy, or you like manipulating auction houses too, Mister Moneybags?
I like I do like doing a little bit of auction house stuff, but I've never been real big into gearing up. I only gear up enough to be relevant. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy all that it has to offer.
Agreed. I like also finding that I like breaking games. Not that I'm adept at doing that, but finding something that works so well that I could just dominate the game itself. Like in action RPGs.
Right. Yeah, like one of the reasons I like leveling up other characters or other classes is to get the perspective. So whenever I'm playing PvP or something, I know kind of what they're going to do.
That is a really good tactic.
Like in Overwatch, for example, this reminds me of Overwatch. My wife and I would play it a lot, and I always would just cycle through the character, the heroes that I would play, and I knew like the cooldown times on like every hero's ability. So whenever Roadhog throws his hook, I'm like, okay, he can't use that again for this amount of time. So let's get in there, and knowing those things gives you a little bit of advantage.
It really does. I did the exact same thing, although I didn't play as the other heroes. I looked at their kit and then I experienced it firsthand with May and just tried to find a way around it.
So to get back on the topic here, I feel like this whole time you've just been kind of interviewing me or something. So tell me about, because this isn't a WoW podcast. It's just what I've been playing lately, and it's so relevant to a lot of these topics. But you give me something, Dean.
Okay, you've heard of League of Legends?
Yes.
Okay, I don't play League of Legends, but this is the example I'm going with because it's the easiest.
You've heard of League of Legends? Yes. Okay, good. We're both on the same page.
I haven't. I have played League of Legends, and it's not my kind of game. MOBAs aren't really my kind of game. But you have League of Legends, which is one of the most popular. You have other MOBAs like Smite, which take a different approach to it. You have these clones of the MOBA, and when I hear a new one comes out, the first thing I think of, which is probably not what I should think of, is but why? Why would you make a game? Are you making it because the genre is popular? Are you making it because you just like MOBAs and you want to express your creativity? Because it's so hard to pull from a base that enjoys MOBAs but is basically just going to play their League of Legends or their Heroes of the Storm and those big ones. So what is that thinking process behind creating a new MOBA? The same thing with Counter-Strike. You have Counter-Strike and you have Valorant, which is very similar to Counter-Strike, but it's like Counter-Strike meets Overwatch is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, I've heard that. So whenever you said that, I thought of whenever Apex Legends came out and how it was supposed to be like a Fortnite killer or something. I've never played either of these games, but I remember being on Twitch a lot at the time, and you go to the channels or the categories, and Fortnite was at the very top, and then Apex Legends came out and it bumped it down. And that was like a big deal that so many people went, I'm guessing, from playing Fortnite to playing Apex Legends, or at least streaming it and people were watching. Now that happens a lot anyway because people want to see the new game when it comes out, but it stayed that way for quite a while if I remember right, for like a week or two, and then it dropped back down, and that just made me think, oh, these people are playing so much Fortnite that it's kind of like a breath of fresh air, like, oh, let's go try Apex Legends because it's familiar to me, but it's completely different.
That is true.
And then whatever happens after that, I have no idea. Maybe they play it and then they go, wait, this isn't Fortnite. And then they go back to playing Fortnite. I don't know what they do, but maybe it's just a breath of fresh air. So people that have been playing League of Legends for a while and a new MOBA comes out, they may say, well, let's try this one. And maybe they think League of Legends is like the pinnacle of MOBA. And then they go try the new one just to see if it even stands up to their standards.
But what if those MOBAs came out so frequently? Because you have Fortnite at the top, and you have your PUBGs, and you have other battle royales. You have your Warzone, other things that do not cross my mind right now. What about the games or the game types that are just pumped out so quickly? And right now I'm thinking Korean MMOs. They're all distinct, they're all very familiar, but there's so many to play, especially if you are getting into them and haven't played them as they release. You're playing them. There's like 6 different MMOs that you want to play. How do you go about that? You'd have to prioritize what you want to play.
Yeah, it makes me wonder why they would do that. And I'm recalling a article that I think I sent you, but this was about mobile app or mobile games, and how one of the tactics now as a mobile developer is to make these like micro games. I think they're only meant to be played for like less than an hour or something. And you download them and you play them and then you move on to the next game. And I guess the strategy is to get a bunch of them out there. So the odds of somebody clicking on yours to download it are a lot higher, instead of coming out with that one really big game that people spend hours and hours playing on their phone.
That is fiendishly brilliant because it solves multiple problems at the same time. You have the first of all, from a developer standpoint, you have just the sheer numbers. There's a higher chance of people to download all these different things that I've made. And then 2, you have, okay, well, that's revenue from each one, which will all add up together and accumulate. And then 3, from the other standpoint, so you have the consumer standpoint, which is I'm adult and I have a lot of really adulty things that I have to do. I don't have a lot of time to play video games, which is basically a tragedy. So they can only play at these short bursts of game time, and then you can play multiple games, different kinds of games, just in those short periods of time, or get really addicted to one of them.
Right. While it's probably really effective to me as a consumer, I feel like it's maybe gonna flood the market with a ton of games that are like mediocre.
Yeah, but are they fun? Because I know sometimes that I want a mediocre experience, a good mediocre experience. I know after playing a big game, I'll play something a little smaller or something that isn't blockbuster, and it may be a D, C, B rank game, but it's still really fun, and I'll beat it within a few hours or more.
Right. I see what you're saying. So I guess whenever I said it was going to flood the market, obviously I don't know that much about mobile gaming. I guess from a console and PC perspective, that's not something that I would want to see. And I don't think that would really fly with the console gamers anyway. I'm just now getting into PC gaming other than like World of Warcraft, because that's all I used to ever play on PC was World of Warcraft. I've always been a console gamer. I'm having flashbacks to the Order 1886, and I was working at GameStop at the time that that came out, and it looked really good. And everybody started bringing it back the next day, and they were saying things like, it's only 3 hours long, or however long it was. It was shorter than what they thought was acceptable.
Yeah, I've heard that the ratio is being I mean, for first person shooters it's a little different, or action games it's a little different because they are shorter, but some people want $1 to $3 per hour of experience.
Right. And maybe after that happened with the Order, maybe developers started saying, oh, you'll get at least 20 hours out of this game, or 30 as a selling point. What was it? The Witcher 3, over 300 hours of gameplay or whatever. I remember they told us to say that at GameStop whenever that game came out. I told us to tell people that, really getting their money's worth. You spend $60 for 300 hours. Wow.
Yeah, multiplayer games are just like $60 for an infinite amount of game time.
I know, right? Yeah, as long as there are people in the server to play against, yeah.
But I don't know, that was my topic that I thought of from last podcast. The topic of vying for attention, because the different things pull different people, and it's a very difficult thing to answer when there's so many similar gameplay experiences with twists and turns. That how do some games survive as long as they do while trying to rip or clone and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but clone different experiences that are popular. And one of the things that I'm playing right now is Phantasy Star Online 2, which is a game that I played the original Phantasy Star Online back on the Dreamcast, then episode 1 and 2 on the Microsoft Xbox. So I've been waiting for this game for a very long time. It was supposed to come to the West back in like 2012, but stayed in Japan. And now that it's out, and it's pretty much solely what I'm playing, but I'm also wanting to play all these other MMOs, these other time sinks that are like flashing their sexiness at me. Games like Closers is very interesting. It's a Korean MMO. Very, very stylish, very Devil May Cry-ish. Just a lot of Korean MMOs, basically. But Phantasy Star is the one that's what's grabbing my attention. It's a great game, and it's also plays on your nostalgia a lot. If you have played it or any Sega title whatsoever. And even a Yakuza outfit, you can get your characters and hairdos and stuff like that. But I don't know. I guess it's personal preference. Like, it's priority. I wish I could play Mr. Manhattan it and just play all the games simultaneously at once, or get into a Dragon Ball Z hyperbolic time chamber and spend 1 year gaming that's only actually a day in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be ideal. That's why we just got to stay picky. I know I keep saying that, but that's kind of one of my mantras.
It's hard because we have to stay picky when we're not picky. Like I started maybe last week or so. I started playing Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen. Have you heard of that one?
Yes, I have.
It has a lot of cool stuff in it, but I don't think it's necessarily a fantastic game, but it is pretty cool. And I have pondered on whether I should just kind of hold off on it and play something that I feel like I would enjoy more, or if I should see it out to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, comment. I'm curious what the people think about what pulls you to a game over another game, because I know it's going to be a total battle when Cyberpunk comes out, because I know a few other games I want to play is coming out. I think the final Borderlands 3 DLC is coming out around the same time Cyberpunk is. So which one am I going to play? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what everybody says as well, because stuff like that must be a nightmare for a completionist, because
Oh my God, yes. Holy crap.
You're like, whew, finally got done with this game. Time to move on to it. Wait, what? An update? Oh no. And then they got to get back into it,
Oh my, yeah, like, oh, we just increased the level cap, and it's like now you have to get weapons that are all the max level all over again after you found your perfect set.
You know what? Since we've been talking about all this, I realize that I'm a fan of games that end definitively.
Like this podcast right now.
Thank you for listening to the Grind Game Podcast. For more video game related content, visit legacyarchivist.com. If you have an interesting video game related story, leave it in the comments for a chance for it to be featured on the show.